I really am right now next to Peterbot and Clix, as you can see. Fellas, just for a second, put down the pickaxes. Just relax for a second, okay? This rivalry, just chill. We've got two great competitors here, eager to get out there on the main stage. Clix, I'll come to you first, dude. It's been a road to get here. You know, you and Veno are looking strong. How are you feeling going into this Global Championships? Everyone out there screaming your name. This must feel like $1 million.
Yeah, I know. It definitely feels good. Unfortunately, we are contested. We figured that out 2 days ago, but we can make the most out of it and see where it goes.
Do you have to train strategy right there in the moment as well? Have you got kind of things planned, how you're going to do that quickly on the fly?
Yeah, I mean, when you play with someone like Veno, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. He's the brain of the duo, so he knows what we're doing.
Okay, and Peterbot as well. I mean, you guys have come into this back-to-back, major champions. You and Poyo have been dominating. I mean, he's smiling over at Clix. I can see this as well. I can feel it. You must feel amazing going into this as well. I mean, you guys, eliminations, you guys are strong going into this. How do you feel?
Feel good, and I'm confident, and I think we're going to win.
The raft is looking busy. There's a lot of duos going into the same spot. Is that a good thing for you guys in terms of surge and things? You kind of eager to have that happen and prove right off the bounce that you guys are ready to contend for that title?
Yeah, I mean, like, the 14s won't really be an issue for us because, I think we are going to be chilling on our side of raft and get the Mythic Hog every game. And we'll be seeing Clix at Forecast. Will
you be going to Forecast? That's the big question. Is that what's going to happen? Clix, what can you give us in terms of insight from you guys?
I mean, he's going to die off spawn, so there's only going to be one team at Forecast. That's me, us. So,
And I want to ask you guys as well.
I think you're triple con, brother. So I don't know if you're going to make it off spawn as well.
I want to ask you guys as well, fighting talk prior to going into this. I'm going to ask you both, keep it clean, obviously, going into this. What do you want to say to Clix first? Yeah, anything you want to say to this competitor across the way?
I mean, there's nothing to say. He knows who I am, and he knows he's gonna lose off spawn. And if he does make it off spawn, then we'll be at the Forecast ready.
Okay, Clix, coming to you as well. Anything you want to say to this fine chap here on the right-hand side?
I mean, he's new to this game. He's only been playing for, what, 2 years? OG like me, 6 years in, competing in almost every tournament. You already know how it's gonna be. Don't even say it. Don't even say it.
The FNCS wins, and you have 0, and you've been playing for an extra couple years.
I mean, Clix, what are you going to say to that?
When you're at the top, stuff happens that you don't want to happen, like shooting out a vending. I've
got one last thing as well before going back to the desk, okay? Is it true, can you confirm right now that next year we're going to see Clix and Peterbot teaming up side by side?
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. That's the new duo.
That's the new duo. That's out.
And we'll see it 15K a month. I'm down.
You heard it right there. The exclusive together. Peterbot and Clix. We're going to see it. Back to you guys.
But wait, let's give it up for Clix and Veno! This is what happens when you combine the best of NA and EU. This is a powerhouse team. They have one thing on their mind, and that's success.
Of teams that like to take high, Clix and Veno. Clix, when he was playing with Epic Whale and Epic Whale, he was taking high ground way too early, around zone 9, and then on constantly getting chopped out. But joined by Veno, who has reined him in just a little bit. They did such a good job during Major 3, controlling high ground, especially in day 1.
Okay, yeah. Let's circle back, Clix and Veno. Let's take a moment, right? Let's give them a moment to kind of talk about this duo. How are they performing? You've touched on it a little bit. Can you maybe break down just a little more for me? What has Veno brought to Clix, right? We've seen Clix kind of pair up with a few different duos, and then obviously we had Queasy and Veno for so long.
Yeah.
And then you're suddenly like, okay, wait, Veno, you're leaving EU to go compete on NA. You're already used to competing in EU, and now we're going to change all of that up, and you're going to go play with someone like Clix? Are you crazy?
It's honestly, we've already talked about it, how well paired it is. It's honestly looking almost like a trio competition where you have the IGL, you have the Fragger, and then you have the support player.
Yep.
But you just mesh IGL and Fragger together, and that's Veno. And Clix plays the perfect support. Watching them play in Major 3 was like watching a dance. Constantly in Veno's shadow, Clix was ready to prepare for him. And watching some of these plays that they made in the end game, where Clix would shoot towards a box, the team would get distracted in one direction, and then Veno would quickly rotate into the back and 1v2 them. It was so exciting to watch them play. They had their strategy down to a pat, but even when a wrench was thrown into that, they were able to evolve, they were able to adjust, and I think even though they might potentially be contested here today, I don't think that's going to throw them off their game too much.
Yeah, well, remember, Major number 3, their debut season, they were looking strong to win the entire Major. I think it was the last 3 games where things didn't quite go too well for them. I think for Veno, he didn't have a very good start in terms of EU's performance with Tayson. He, of course, played Major 1 and Major Major 2 with Tayson. You imagine this is like a Titan duo. I mean, you can see on the screen right now, he is ready and raring to go. He's been in this situation before, but as I was saying, he was playing with Tayson, didn't quite work out. He's looking at other options in EU and thought, well, not really any players that sort of suit me here. This is not, I don't want to be going into Major 3 not 100% comfortable. And I think that's why we saw him move over to NA. And as I mentioned earlier, Clix is just the perfect teammate. At the beginning of their sort of journey together, things were a little bit rough. You know, maybe it was a little bit exaggerated, but you could tell that things weren't quite on the same page. But now though, when you watch them in endgame, the way they play through these tarps, the way they're hip to hip, as you mentioned, making little strategies, little plays in endgame, it's so good to watch. And they're really exciting team in endgame. When they're playing those mid-ground layers, it's so good.
Veno and Clix, y'all, are here, and they are indeed contested.
The moment these names lit up on screen, you can just hear the crowd going crazy. I mean, a clear fan favorite for good reason. And I think the most incredible part about it is just listening to Clix talk about the fact, hey, we just found out a couple days ago, yeah, we are going to be contested. But for Demo and Resigns, you have to also factor in, this is familiarity for them. Sandy Steps has been their home as well.
Yeah, and this is a lot of respect coming from both sides. Clix and Veno, of course, just feeling out the playing field right now, playing the outskirts, meaning that no team can, rotate from behind them, whereas Resigns and Demo are content with their side of the map.
They know all those duos that are far west on the map, far north, they're gonna have to rotate through Cooper and Kanata. Kanata is notorious for setting up surge bases in positions where you have ample opportunity to deal some damage to other teams.
Oh, look at this. This is the clash we all expected. Veno and Clix versus Oceania's Demo there, who just rotated by. They're going to be the first to get a couple of tags and start to get the lead here. You have to be really careful. Veno and Clix are going to recognize that if they stay in the storm, what's going to happen? Those other teams are going to have strong positions to give them even more of a problem later. But it seems like they want to continue to press the action here.
Kashoro, though, kind of could get caught in the mix here. Not sure if Clix and Veno have spotted him out just yet, but Kashoro, the moment that he tries to break through, that's when Clix sees small opportunity to try and bounce in here. But again, MDF, this is getting a little bit more drawn out than maybe what Clix and Veno were after.
Yeah, because Andalix and Sato were still here. They thought it was just a solo, but now they walk into almost a spider's web here. Sato and Andalix do have heals as well, so they can kind of sustain themselves for quite some time, but I'm not sure how much Andalix has to work with. Meanwhile, the GOATs of the region, the kings of EU, the most consistent duo in the world when it comes to LAN performances in the recent years, are here.
Every view we pan over, it's like sharks in the water currently. The fact that Cammy and Seti have now decided to just stroll on over so casually, but they recognize there's no real openings for us to taste this one just yet. Let's prioritize our positioning and set, because they can always set up to intervene. Kashoro trying to do what he can to escape, but Veno's gonna shut that one down in no time. His first elimination goes to Clix.
Veno's gonna be the first to claim it alongside Clix here for a big elimination, and that's gonna set themselves off in the right pace here. Still,
similar fate, because even if he makes it into this next edge of zone, he's still gonna have to deal with all the teams that are already based up, situated, and ready to take advantage of the players that are late straggling in.
Take a look at this refresh from Veno and Clix now, as they managed to find themselves a little bit of a cachet from some leftover action between Casper and Prism. Prism now not being in this fight. And still, you have OCE's Demo and Resigns almost on this warpath with them, continuing to be that thorn in their side, if you will, for lack of a better phrase. But back on over to the focus here as Clix is looking for action here. Those are his walls. It's Acorn, it's Cold on the other side. A very scary team to go against, to almost compound for you, so you want to stay up. Veno is down right now. Clix has a very important decision to make here. Do you save your best mate or let him get sent back to the lobby so you can just focus in now? Seems like he wants to go for the save. Armored Wall is going to be the saving grace here for a moment, though. Instead, Veno makes the call. Leave me. Continue to play the game here.
Veno knew there was just way too much pressure coming from the other side of that wall. A fully intact duo, and that duo being Queasy and Thomas HD. There's just no realistic opportunity for Clix to bring that one back. But Queasy, he's actually looking a little hurt here. He might have been desperate at that point, and Clix finds himself in a similar situation. Only has small shield potions to rely on, 2 below. when it comes to the damage threshold. He's got to make a move, and he's got to do it now. But I don't think anybody's giving him an opening.
Well, he's still inside the top 20 now. The more teams that fall, this would be excellent for Clix here. He just has to hold on a little bit longer. And he is doing just that. A little bit of a zone pull towards his side, more or less. But High Ground has Cammy and Seti looking from up above, and it has never looked better for this duo.
Kadu and Cia having already been eliminated. And again, reconvening with Clix's
oh my god
POV, but Clix,
wow.
he's just crazy with the movement. The fact that he managed to escape.
Still alive.
Still
he's clutching.
hustling.
Almost a top 15 now, and he's inside the top 15. Could he make a top 10? It's so close, and down he goes to the hands of Peterbot. He takes him down. Peterbot is also a solo.
It could have been engagement.
And that was our current first and third, or second place teams basically to be going head to head. But let's jump in with Clone and Kramsu right now. Another team very, very desperate here to find a fight. Clix and Epic Whale are the team not so desperate, but ready to defend. But no, they lose the walls first. This is not looking good. But they end up finding the shots, and Clix is so fast. He hits one and then the second before they can even notice what happened to them.
Yeah, you know this guy's been taking some tips from Veno. I mean, he's been forming his own kind of master class at this stage.
The edit in, caught by Veno there. The trap was delayed. So good.
Way in, trying to see if they can suppress as many duos as possible to those mid and low ground layers.
Well, here it is. It seems like they've been able to catch a little bit of extra information there. Now looking for teams nearby. Bryson Bolt's going to be one of the first to go ahead and be in the line of sights here. But the zone hasn't popped just yet. They know it's got to go north. They're working their way through this build here. The cover's been blown, and they back off. Happy with the few tags, but still, they need more eliminations. Surely more placement points if they want to jump up to top 5, as those teams are still in this game.
Possible for anybody to try and effectively challenge for height MDF, but we see crazy things happen. Clix, on the other hand, alongside of Veno, they're going to fall back to back. Trulex and Chicho now seeing.
Very, very well executed. Well, that's going to set themselves up for success. They have nothing to worry about other than get to Storm now. For Veno and Clix, a little bit of a different story here. Still a successful game nonetheless. 2 elims, plenty of material to work with, especially in Clix's reservoir here.
The top 5 wiped out.
That is actually going to be very, very important for everyone who's on the bubble now, looking to jump up into that top 5 spot. Meanwhile, what's happening on the other side? Clix also similar pressures, but they find the Asian champs of Bovie on the backside of the zone there, Larpex, and take them down.
Yeah, that was a nice moment as well for Clix and Veno, because as you can see, they are just barely managing to stay above water at this point. 27 above on the damage threshold, be exact. And Veno already taking note some teams that might be elevated a little bit higher than their current position, but Yuma has absolutely no idea where these shots are pulling in from. It looks like he's getting lit up from 2 different directions, and Batman Booga actually going to be the one credited for that takedown, but Veno, Clix just chopping directly through the center. They've done a decent job as well and making sure to go unnoticed.
Clix out of ammunition for his rifle. This is the worst we have seen this duo, and arguably the most important game right now. So all they have is each other at this point, and this is why they continue to remain below the surge, is because they don't really have the rifle ammo to find the tags. These shotgun pelts, I mean, they're not much. They're not going to do much. You have to take one of these wall-to-wall exchanges here. Strawberry Fizz comes out. Great catch here. It's Rapid who falls. And I think, again, they lose the elimination credit. However, the damage, though, is theirs.
And the body loot as well.
Very
Veno
nice.
just practically refreshed the max mats. But most importantly of all, MDF, they've got the relief that they needed as far as that surge damage is concerned. Veno clicks in a box up momentarily, but a fully intact duo with the way that he plays. So much swagger inside of his own gameplay. Veno also barely managing to cling on life, but 5 eliminations as well for Clix and Veno at this stage.
I was gonna say mistake now. The first mistake we have actually seen from Peterbot right there. He should have known better.
Clix, on the other hand, he's gonna get credit for Gadu. CM might still be kicking somewhere, but at least for right now, Clix, Veno, they're managing to find the refreshes when they need them most. Flixie and Vika, though, they've taken note of the team across the way for their current position. They're looking to try and get the chop from secondary height. Flixie, in fact, even hoping that he continues to build out. He's trying to cut off Queasy, and he finds him, falling straight to the ground.
Queasy jumps up and just gets melted there. That's the problem with the Flowberry Fizz. Unfortunately, now Viko and Flixie have a real opportunity here to take high ground, secure it, solidify their spot straight to the end game. Meanwhile, noticeable names alive. Booga, Aviv, Quanti, and Gone still standing. Ed is in this lobby. Acorn and Cold are still alive.
Wow.
And the save from Thomas HD onto Queasy, though, was definitely not something I saw coming.
Acorn and Cold now, they're gonna opt to layer swap through the low ground, making their way, crossing over all this natural terrain provided by Castle Doom. But again, the high ground, it belongs to Viko and Flixie. They are seeking out full control of this fourth lobby here, and everyone is folding underneath them. Flix down to his final 2 HP. Will he have a moment? Finally gets an opportunity to pop a small shield potion, but again, just scrambling, doing everything in his power to survive. He's got players funneling in ult from every direction, and it's not gonna be enough. Clix has been taken out.
All win condition setups. Meanwhile, Veno and Clix struggling here below the surge, need damage, they need health. And it's a very healthy Viko and Flixie above them, so not an easy duo by any means, but they don't have that information.
Veno knows that they don't really have much of a choice at this point. They've got to jump into just about anyone's box if they want to keep this Game 5 run going strong, because a refresh is a necessity at this point. The material count entirely too low. They need heals as well, and they're not going to find it unless they eliminate somebody else. But overhead, Viko catches a glimpse of Clix, takes out a huge chunk of his HP, but at the same time, Clix actually does wind up falling, and Veno meets a similar fate. Just no escape from the top end of the leaderboard.
And it just plays
on launchpad plays, and now they've lost that position entirely to the likes of Peterbot and Poyo, and they know it as well. So at this stage, the only option left is for Clix and Veno to confirm these 2 eliminations now onto Damo and Resigns.
Yeah, they're starting to push here pretty aggressively. Clix doing much better job now as he's side by side his teammate Veno. Opponents, Damo on the run now, built out to the side there. Clix still curious to the fact that he owns some of the territory here. That's going to be a small victory for them in the time being. Up and over they go.
This is where they had initially trapped Resigns and Damo, but at the same time, Damo managing to sneak around out back, but it's only because of the fact that Giras, Sherry, they have moved in to the vicinity, and now Veno Clix, fully aware of the fact that there is just too many numbers surrounding them. It's too close for comfort. They've got to find another way to escape, and the other thing that could potentially be threatened at this point for Clix and Veno is the vending machine. It's gonna be, I don't want to say impossible for them to make their way to those resources, but at the same time, how do you break through all these duos already surrounding you?
Yeah, and again, more points lost as well. It's not just, of course, the game starting to slow down for them. It's the points that they're not accruing because Giras and Sherry have effectively taken those eliminations now.
They're lucky that it seems as though Virgo and Shadow were just out of audio range to hear those shields getting cracked.
Well, they gotta get past their own armored wall,
yeah,
right?
That's true.
It's a two-way street there.
It is a two-way street for sure, but at the same time, I definitely respect the decision there from Viko and Flixie, because that fight back that we saw from Shadow and Virgo defending their position inside of the bunker, he can to make his way across. Bolts in a similar situation, but in fact, it's actually Veno and Clix on the receiving end, and they're the ones under the most duress here. Veno has got a little bit of shield, but underneath that damage threshold, their final lobby of the day is not gonna pan out the way they were hoping. 9th place team in trouble.
Kind of crazy, Clix and Veno fall. Bryce and Bolts jump up above them, and they were neck and neck on the leaderboards, on the standings, so a very, very critical set of eliminations for Bryce and Bolts, and now Veno and Clix are set back. home basically having to think about today and figuring out how to patch up their gameplay to close out in top 10 performance for tomorrow. But